Yo, what's up, guys? This is D Brown with Trackheads. I'd like to welcome to the episode of Trackheads. I just got finished watching the world high school, or is it the high school record, the U.S. high school record for the 500-meter dash. This is the race that Quincy Wilson performed in. He did really, really well in this race to get second place, ran like 62 and some change. But the ultimate winner of this race, his name was Andrew Salvadon. Really dope last name. He's from Virginia Beach, so he was representing in this Virginia showcase. I mean, I don't think a lot of people saw Quincy Wilson losing. He's been pretty much having the hot hand since he, was able to go to the Olympic Games, got that Olympic gold medal in the 4x4. And I mean, guys, such a tremendous performance. It wasn't to the wire, or to be honest, it wasn't really as competitive as it was billed to be. It was supposed to be, he was the headliner performance, and people were coming to see him take these records, right? And one of the things I think that's important to know is that Quincy Wilson is not the only guy that has the caliber to hit some of these awesome times. I'm looking at Andrew Salvadon's mile split right now, and this dude has some pretty tremendous performances. He has the same exact profile as Quincy Wilson. He's a long sprinter. He has a decent amount of speed, but he really gets going from 300 to 500. It's his wheelhouse. So he's a great, excellent 400-meter runner. His PR before that ultimate national record was 61.9. He went 33.7 indoors. Like last year, he went 34.8. He ran 62.9. I mean, this guy is a pretty amazing athlete. I'm looking at his 100 and 200 meter times. He's only at 11.4 and 21.84. I'm sure those were like, they don't really show the details on here unless you have like a pro mile split profile, but it's safe to say that this guy has plenty of speed endurance. He's not a pure speed athlete, but he's very, very strong. I mean, he has a 159 800-meter time, but pretty much the same exact profile as Quincy Wilson, in that he's not a pure sprinter. His profile is more long sprinting. So when you really think about those kind of athletes coming together, I mean, the determining factor when you're both on the strength side is going to be who's faster. And I think on paper, yes, it was correct to assume that Quincy Wilson was going to be the performer, but my boy, I mean, not my boy, I don't know him like that, but he rose to the occasion like he was supposed to. Because a lot of people forget, man, track and field isn't like basketball. It's not like football where, where there's all these different, I mean, in football, basketball, there's all these different variables, but in track, I mean, you could be built to win the whole thing, but you have to go out there and run that event. If you would have asked me my personal opinion about where Quincy Wilson kind of lost it, I would say is the beginning. He took it out pretty aggressively, right? And the pace, and understandably, you're supposed to take it out to kind of set the rhythm in the 500. Mind you, I'm not coming off as like I'm a pro in the 500. I'm not running as fast as these guys. I probably would never will. But my point is, from a coach's perspective and from a person who's watching the race, Andrew, he passed through the first 300 at 34.1 to set up that national caliber race. The way that Quincy went out, he went out like he was gonna hit it at that same rhythm. Like the way he took it out, looked like he was about to hit 33 and some change, right? Now, if I look up Quincy Wilson's results, right? So I'm going to look up Quincy Wilson real quick, and let's see what his fastest 300 is. Quincy Wilson, right? Oh, good. All these Quincy Wilsons, man. I'm looking for the Quincy Wilson. But anyway, I think it'd be safe to assume that because this man went 44 and some change, outdoors he was able to go 32, right? He was able to go 32 and some change. So let's assume that because his PR indoors is about 45, I believe, high, right? 44, he's one of the few high school athletes to go 45 seconds. We can assume that his PR has to be around 33, right? Is he in that shape right now? No. At his peak, he's in that shape, but is he in that shape right now? No. Andrew ran 33.7 already. So Andrew is going to be a little bit more comfortable coming through at 34.1 than Quincy is. Quincy went at 800. He ran at 800. He also ran a 600. And it's kind of interesting because hindsight is always 20/20. But if you look at Quincy Wilson's 600, that he ran at the beginning of the year. And I didn't get a chance to address this. I didn't put a video out. But if you look at his splits, he went out in like 22 and some change. Then he ended up crossing through, I believe, in like 48, 49 or something like that. And then his last 200, he ended up, slowing up a bit and end up crossing through at like 118, right? So again, quality 600, there was no one anywhere close to him. But going out in 22 in a 600 is questionable. Because again, if you're from the strength side, it's one thing to set the pace. It's another thing to go out and die and test your strength. Like your you don't want a positive split so open that it ends up being not as quality of a run as you can. Because the question is, can you run a 600 even splitting it? Can you run a 600 by running 24 to 25 seconds and then coming back in 24 to 25 seconds and then finishing up in 26, right? That would get you to like a 115, 116, right? Instead of going out in 22 seconds, burning the fuse, and then now all of a sudden you're in lactic city towards the last 300 or 200 meters of your 600. So these are important things to kind of think about. And again, this could be something that he's just working on certain things very specific that his coach is telling him to do. Like, hey, I want you to punch out the first 200 more aggressive and let's see what we got. We really want to push the lactic threshold. That could be it too. But in my personal opinion, I feel like he lost that 500. Andrew, he didn't, cut him off intentionally. That's the name of the 500. When you're so fast and when you've been in some of these races where no one gives you competition and then someone goes out faster than you, it can be a little bit startling because you don't know how to fight back from that, right? But with all that being said, I just think he went out a little bit too fast for maybe the condition that he was in. Surely he's doing speed work. Sure, he's doing all these different things. But again, he's coming from the strength side and he would have been probably better off even navigating the turns, maybe taking it out a little bit more conservative and then squeezing the gear, squeezing the juice after that. A perfect example of that, if you actually watched the national record before this, I believe, what's his name? The 800-meter runner who ended up going to UGA. Man, I forgot his name, but really talented guy. He ended up signing with Adidas. He won the NCAA championship in 2023. But he was another one that, because he was so strong in the 800s, similar PRs to where Quincy Wilson was, where he was a 400, 800 meter profile. I mean, 45 seconds indoors, about like a 149, 148. I think he went like maybe 147 or 148 outdoors, but supremely strong. He didn't take it out super fast in that 500 meter world record. He switched gears. And after 300, when he had one more lap, was able to kick his way to that national record. So there's so many different ways to do it. I think Quincy Wilson will eventually get that back. He will eventually, not get that back, but he will eventually, he will have the race that he's supposed to have. But I think he needs to work on his race plan. But like I said, it's, hindsight's 2020. I think Andrew did a great job. He did a phenomenal job. And that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to show people like, hey, I'm here too. And it's good momentum going into, he's already signed to South Carolina, University of South Carolina, but if he didn't have a school that he was going to before, the doors opened up after he secured that win against Quincy, but also setting the U.S. The U.S. national record in the 500-meter dash. So congrats to both of those gentlemen and everyone that was in a race, quality run. And guys, this is just my 2 cents, all right? So this is D Brown with Trackers. I want to thank you guys for watching. Peace.